Love After Lockup, Season 6, Episode 14. Diamonds aren't a girl's best friend. Troy and Zariah. Let's get into it, shall we? Oh, yes, we shall.
Everybody needs a sweet old auntie. Thank you, subscribers, and my consistent reviews. All of y'all who have been here through the long haul. Shall we get into it? Oh, yes, we shall. It's time for Auntie Advice. Sweet old. It's time for Auntie's Advice. Oh, yeah. It's time for Auntie's advice. Sweet old Auntie's advice.
So we started off this episode, or this particular part of the episode, because I'm breaking this up because they all gonna be long. So we start this off with Troy basically driving himself to Buffalo in the snow during Christmas time. Now, I felt like on this particular episode, I had whiplash. I felt like maybe I was crazy, you were crazy, we were crazy. Now, I know on last week's episode that we saw Miss Karen call Troy needing Troy's help in order to find the son, Vaughn. Let's just make sure we establish that that's what we saw. So on this week, we see Troy leaving Zariah. She is mad because she feels like she's his family. She should be treated like his family, and he should, when he goes to Buffalo, take her with him so that she can have a confrontation with the baby mama. The two of them, of course, we all know are not getting along, don't get along, but everybody get along when it comes down to the filming. I'm just saying. So Troy is saying, he feels split. He would like to live in Syracuse and Buffalo, but he can't do, both places at one time. How does he do this? So he says that he has to go down to his mama's house in order to be able to find his brother, because she was the last person who spoke with him. Now, if any of you all have seen them go live on Facebook, sometimes you will hear her say, Vaughn here, the son is there at her house. Okay, so he is frustrated. He knows that family is first, but he knows that his mother does not get along with his wife. We have seen it play out on social media. We've seen it play out on Facebook. We ain't crazy, neither are we stupid. Okay. So today I went around on purpose to different content creators' channels to see what they had to say about what went down. I went to at least 6 African American content creators' channels. Did I see what I thought I saw? Did I hear what I thought I heard? Am I going to say probably the same thing they said? Yes, I am. So he gets there and Mama Karen is standing outside. He didn't even meet her down to a house. He met Mama Karen downtown to someplace. Please excuse my dog. Somebody must be approaching the house and they don't play that. Okay. I had to tell a roof guy that the other day. Something about, you look like you need a roof. No, you look like you need a root canal. Okay. Don't come up on my house telling me what I need in my house. You understand what I'm saying? I can't stand that. Talking about he gonna leave a free estimate. Never mind. I ain't asked you for a free estimate. You better not climb your ass back up on my roof nowhere. Anyway. So Mama Karen meets him downtown at a store building. Now, a lot of the content creators dragged her for her clothes. They said she looked like a 1977 hoochie. They said that, she looked like she was going to do some strange things for some change. They even talked about the eyelash, basically looking as if it was going to pop off her eye at any time. They said one was up, one was down, and one was almost level to the ground. They talked about, her looking like she was inebriated and high as Cootie Brown. They tore Mama Karen down. Oh, yeah, they did. They talked about the inappropriateness. Now, Troy walks up on his mother and he says that he's looking for Vaughn. Does she know where he is? I don't know where he is. I don't be looking for no grown person. I ain't got time to be doing that. But didn't last week she make the phone call? And then the sister called looking for the boy, needing help to help the brother? Yes, she did. But this week, or when he gets there, she don't have nothing to do with it. Unless production filmed this wrong, she was the one that made the call. Was the call coming from inside the house? But when he gets there, she don't have nothing to do with this. She wants to go around the corner and have a drink. I was so confused, which is why I went to other content creators to see if they saw what I saw, if they saw what you saw, if we all saw the same thing. Troy is like, what's going on? She says she doesn't have time to look for him. Troy is saying that's part of what's going on. We haven't had you in our lives as a mother. Now, last week, Troy indicated out of his mouth that neither him or his brother lived together because they were living with separate family members. Now we find out they had another brother by the name of Thomas, or Tom, who was killed. Troy recalled the story that when his father called him, and told him that his brother had been killed. Troy said he took 6 shots, I think, to the front and 1 in the back. Troy is saying you don't even know where your son is. So does the son live with Karen now, or he don't live with Karen? Like, I'm confused. Y'all tell me down in the chat, is he living with her or not? Troy said, you don't even know where your children are. You ought to know what's happening with your children. Miss Karen then sits down with Troy, the two of them, and talk about it. Or at least he tries to talk about it. He doesn't want his wife, Zariah, who got problems too, to have an issue with one another. She's saying, I'm the boss. But by the way, do you want to smoke? She said, he know I'm always tore up or fucked up. Like, what? I know her son is grown, and I know grown people do grown people stuff. I don't have a problem with that. But I don't want the only way that I can relate to my child to be by getting high together. Troy is saying you gotta have respect for my wife. You gotta have respect. She said, no, that bitch, you that bitch. I'm just like, oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. He goes to his sister's house. Now, mind you, in my opinion, did he have to go and see his mother in order to find out where the boy Vaughn was? No, he did not. But I think that because there was a lot of stuff that Troy alluded to that had been going on social media, they have a tumultuous relationship with one another. She said, "No, I wasn't a good mom. I'm not. No, she said I wasn't the best mother, but I was there." And Troy said, "I disagree." Can you imagine? Can you imagine that you have this kind of relationship with your mom? With the one who carried you. I listened to one of the content creators who was saying this woman carried him and birthed him, but doesn't know him. You can see that Troy is tired of being in the middle. And if any of you all saw the stuff that was going on social media, it was disgusting, the stuff that was coming out of all of their mouths. Absolutely disgusting. Zariah is selfish and entitled and wants her husband to herself. She wants to be in the midst of stuff. But she too, according to her, has bipolar. I don't know if it's coupled with anything else, but this is a hot mess express. So he meets up with his sister Jackie. And I was looking at all the kids and I was like, they all got their mama mouth. They got their mama mouth and their mama nose. She looked like a splitting image of her mother. Splitting image of her mother. And she is saying, we got to find him. Troy has been incarcerated for a good portion of his life. And now he is, the role model. I don't know how he could be the role model other than just a deterrent, right? Because the sister was talking and he was saying if he get a job, is he going to keep the job? And I agree with Troy on that because if you're trying to help someone who is not ready to help themselves, then there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. It really isn't. His mama can't do anything about it. Troy can't do anything about it, and neither can the sister. And so Troy calls the brother on the phone and says, "Hey, we around in your neighborhood. Where you at? We're trying to hook up with you." And so they hook up, with him. They find him. They go down to the brother's gravesite. Troy remembers where it is. He dusted off with dust the leaves off of it, and he puts his hand down to the ground to be one with his brother. And they start showing news articles about, what happened to the brother and all that kind of stuff, right? And I chose not to dig it up because that was enough for me. And so Troy, is telling the brother, we here, we miss you and everything. And then, they get really emotional. And I got emotional right along with them. And I was like, I don't know what the brother sister bond is between them, but I know that during perilous times and times like this of grief and stuff like that, it is good to be able to be with your family members and kind of unite and get it together. And Troy told his brother, he was like, look, we still got an opportunity. He don't. He's gone. And so we don't have we got an opportunity to change our lives. We got an opportunity to have kids. We got an opportunity to have a good life. And that's exactly what we need to be doing, right? And so the brother was like, I'm going to go through this phase that I'm in, and I'm going to get myself together. I don't know how much more we're going to be seeing of this brother on this particular show, but I just was like, this is a lie, because you can tell that Troy and probably the brother have some childhood trauma. And I can't imagine that not having your biological mother in your life would not cause you childhood trauma. And then, when you talk to him and you want to, you can see that Troy wants to have a connection with Miss Karen, but it's difficult to have a connection with somebody that you don't really know which way they're going to be, which way they're going to go from any given day. And one thing that we know for certain, and we definitely know for sure, is very unpredictable. Miss Karen is extremely unpredictable. Now, I'm not going to drag her like all the other content creators, because they dragged her. And I mean, one of them just dragged her down to the floor and just, I'm not going to do that, because this was such a sensitive moment that, they all grabbed each other and hugged in a three, circle, and just was grieving over the brother. It was very hard to see that. For me, I have not lost a sibling, and we're all getting old. And so I know that eventually one of us gonna be gone. And I'm hoping that it is not to some mess in the street. I don't even know how old the brother was, but this was something else. Like I said, Miss Karen said that she is the boss, but she's not the boss, because Zariah is not going for it. Troy is trying to be in there with his wife, and he is trying to support her. And I don't disagree with Troy on that. I think that it is a husband's job to forsake his family for his wife. That's what the Bible says. You forsake. And I'm sorry to hear that, Jazzy Sunset. Jazzy Sunset said, I lost 3 siblings. KB said Troy been dealing with this for a long time. Absolutely. And it's just a lot that's going on. He said that his mother will not take responsibility for the stuff that, goes on in their family. And I don't know about all that. All I know is that this was a deep episode for me. Again, they need to come together as a family if they're going to help this boy. But they need to first find out where is he. Because you cannot help a person that does not want to be helped. Like point blank and period. Anyway, y'all, that is my review on this particular couple. Stay tuned. Turn your notification bells on, because we're about to get into it as we get into it. I love y'all. Thank y'all for being here. Bye.